If everybody would please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I see you counting. I got to ask why. No, really, I want to know.
Was local government in action, and we were supposed to come to a board meeting and one of the things on the sign says count how many people that are here that are under 18 and how many people are in attendance. So that's
Okay, I just wondered. You're the first one I ever saw count. So that's just a question. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Very observant.
Yeah, I like it. All righty. Well, we've done the pledge in the public comment radar. Righty. Now it's on. Consent agenda. Chair will accept a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Seeing that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Student representative. So we're doing things different this year. We're going to have 3 folks rather than 1. And they're all 3 here. I'd like them to introduce themselves, stand up and introduce themselves. And then my little goal of it was hopefully that we'd always have them having rotating in so that they'd be able to tell us different perspectives compared to our previous student representatives. So that's kind of where we're at. Dr. Underwood, anything for the student representatives?
No, the one thing I would point out is we have a representative from each one of our academies, so we'll hopefully hear some differing stories and information in regards to each and every one of those. So thank you guys for being here and putting your time in toward, and it is about civics and giving back. And so this can just be the beginning of your political science class and what you guys can do as you become politicians maybe in the future.
All right, so each one of you, if you'll please stand up. And Tony, if you'll get on the microphone and who you are, grade level, stuff like that. He's going to give you a microphone. He's got some of his technology stuff to do. Yeah. He's just the director of technology. He struggles with this.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fernando. I am a representative of Science and Industry, and it's an honor to be here and to be in your presence.
What grade are you in?
Oh, I'm a 12th grade senior.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Hardy. I'm a 12th grader and I'm in the Human Services Academy.
Hi, I'm Michaela McConnell. I'm a junior and I'm in the business and tech.
All righty. Thank you. Anything else on that, sir? Okay. All righty. Report of the superintendent, district professional development plan.
I have 2 items for you. The first is our professional development plan for the 24-25 school year. This is a requirement for MSEP 6. This has been updated since our strategic plan. So you will see there are 3 goals. The first, the first one is in bold, authentic, relevant educational experiences. What? Oh, I apologize.
I think we will ask for some student feedback, Mr. President, after the meeting, since it'll be their first one.
Great. That'd be great. All right, go on, Dr. Mock. Sorry.
Yeah, the first feedback is wait till the document is up and then speak. Maybe that would be my. So the first one is, again, authentic, relevant educational experiences for students. One of the objectives is to have every teacher trained in letters. This is a very bold move for our district to have all of our K-4 TESOL and SPED teachers trained in volume 1 and volume 2. This will be a 2-year commitment. So every PD day from here on out, they will be in a training in the morning, and the afternoon will be collaboration. They'll work on their modules. It is based on the science of reading. So all of those teachers will be trained in how kids learn and how the brain functions when learning how to read. And it's very complex, and it will be a 2-year commitment. We'll have 67 teachers in volume 1, and then we will have 17 teachers in volume 2. And then we have another 17 teachers that have already completed it. So we also are going to be giving $500 stipends for these teachers to go through. It is almost like a college course. So there's homework and some action that they will be taking within their classrooms. But all of the teachers that have gone through it have said they are better for it, and they are better teachers of teaching reading. So that's a big, big undertaking, and I appreciate our district support in that. Other items, just to note, we will continue with Project Lead the Way and expanding that. We are expanding that in 5th grade. We're continuing design thinking at the high school that goes along with teaching through the lens in our academy model. We also are exploring middle school academies, exploration on seeing what that looks like in Belton. And then we're continuing with building thinking classrooms, which is a book study. The piece number 3 under that first one on page 2 at the bottom, this is a new tactic that we want to explore and create kind of a framework around project-based learning and include that competency-based language. So that will be something that will be a new undertaking for. Second goal is strengthening our culture of character. Some action steps will be creating a portrait of a graduate or a learner. We'll be bringing a team together to start looking at that, and also connected to academies. We also are going to continue to retain and recruit high quality staff, and working with HR and also our mentoring program. And then also continue to implement trauma-informed practices in our classrooms. Goal 3 is around effective communications to strengthen partnerships. And that's working with, obviously, our communication specialist, but looking at all of our platforms, looking at two-way communication, training our staff on what works best and communicating. And then I know Rebecca will be putting a team together to look at our current practices and then having a plan for improvement. So we're excited to have her join. You can see there will be obviously collaboration on all of these strategic tactics, and then also feedback. We will have a monitoring progress where we check in regularly. And then at the end, it just shares again, we have PDC teams and our site teams that oversee the money that each building has, and the money that teachers get to use to look at what kinds of passions they have and how they want to improve, and they have money within their building to go and do that. So with all of this information, the administration asked the board to approve the PD plan for 24-25 school year.
I make a motion, we approve the PD plans for the 24-25 school year. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the PD plan for the 24-25 school year. Any discussion? I'd like to know what TESOL.
It is Teachers of Secondary English
Okay,
Language. There's an O in there. It's a new word that they
that's a
use
new one that
now
you-
for ESL, English as Second Language.
Other language. Okay.
Thank
all right.
you. Other.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
What's the timeline? It says 24-25, so you plan to try to implement all this year?
So some of these will be a 2-year commitment, but we're starting. And you'll see Dr. Poisel will be talking about our strategic plan and timeline too. So with MSEP 6, we want to weave in all of the things that we have committed to with our strategic plan. And you'll see it in the communications plan. You'll see it in our mentoring plan. You'll see it in our PD plan. So there'll be some redundancies here, but these are all the things that we have queued up for this year. Are they all going to be complete? No, some of these will be ongoing.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Passes. District assessment plan.
Okay, me again. We have, oh, I'm going to wait till we have our annual assessment plan. There really is not anything new on the assessment plan except for one, or actually 2 items I want to talk about. One is under pre-kindergarten at Grace Early Childhood. They have for years had their common assessment that they used to progress monitor their students. And they are going to be trained and using, it's called the PKOF, which is pre-kindergarten observation form. We have requirements for our kindergarten observation form, and that was new last year. So they have added, and they want to connect with what's happening in kindergarten into Grace. So that will be something new that they will be using. The other information I would want to share with you, we have our NWEA fluency assessment that we do for K1, 2, and 3. We, in the past, last year, when we piloted and we had overwhelming response that teachers wanted to go from STAR, Renaissance to NWEA. That was an approved district resource from DESE. The end of July, DESE came out with their approved resource for assessments, and NWEA was not on there. And this was a shock to lots of districts, especially when we had done all of our planning and whatnot and teacher feedback. So we have been tasked with either finding another vendor for fluency or for the dyslexia screening, or we can continue to use it this year. We have decided to continue to use it this year. DESE is allowing that this year until we decide in January to see what other approved district or DESE resource we can use for fluency. So I may or may not be coming back to you in January with another one for next year. But right now we're staying the course because we put a lot of work and time and training for our staff, and they like it. They're finding value in it. Hoping maybe DESE changes their mind and puts them back on the approved list. So I don't know the exact reason why that decision was made at the state level, but it was, and it has become a ripple effect, I will say, and it's been kind of challenging to get.
So what changes for us if we decided not to make a change, other than us making DESE mad?
if we decide to just stay the course and use, then we could possibly be out of compliance and
Okay,
they would come back and say, well, you're not using a approved resource
okay.
assessment. So, but for right now, we're staying the course and we'll see what happens. But other than that, there are no other changes. We still use Zello. We still all of you ACT, pre-ACT, they're all smiling over there. Remember all of those tests? So all of these are obviously changed or not changed. There is a state assessment windows on page 10. DESE has moved the window up. So we do not have the end of the year as we've had in the past for completing assessments. So that will be a little bit of a change of when our window starts. So with all of that, the administration asks the board to approve the assessment plan for 2024-25 school year.
Motion to approve the local assessment plan for Belton School District number 124 for 2024-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Belton Assessment Plan for 24-25 school year. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Strategic plan update.
Yes, as Dr. Mock talked about a couple times already today, I referenced our strategic plan that the board approved back in May, a new 5-year plan. The latest action we've taken on that is meeting with Dr. Gunn, who facilitated the creation of the plan, and went over the 15 action plans with the district leadership team and then laid them out over what will be the next 5 years over plan of when that plan will go into effect and who will be responsible for it. Just like I said, you're going to hear a lot of common terms for plans that are going to be implemented in the 24-25 school year around a common framework for project-based learning, competency-based learning language, a pre-K through 8 portrait of a pirate, retaining and recruiting staff members, portrait of a graduate at all building levels, strengthening communication and connection with community members, and then streamlining communication between school and home. Those are the plans that are going to affect this year to lay the groundwork for some of the bigger plans that will go in the latter 4 years of that. Reason we don't put this up as a working document that we review annually. Look at the progress we've made. There's times we'll have events happen and we move plans from year to year. So again, a working document with responsibility assigned to different district leadership team members who are responsible for shepherding that plan and seeing that it's implemented. Any questions about that?
Okay.
I will follow up with Dr. Mock because I was Googling as she was talking. Because education, we are known for our jargon, and like a grocery store, once we're comfortable where things are at, we change it all. So TESOL stands for Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages.
Thank you.
Yes, same what ESL was before. Yes, just changed on us. So.
All righty. Technology Program Survey.
Good evening. I get to speak tonight. So we have a presentation tonight. For those of you who don't know, I'm Dr. Tony Arbisi, the Director of Technology for the school district. We are presenting on the technology program evaluation. I believe most of us can agree that it's undisputed that technology is infused in everything we do, and it's an important and critical part of any organization today, especially when it comes to teaching and learning. One of the things we were talking about is the mission of our technology department. And that is basically to enhance, protect, and empower our BSD educational community. The next slide. And we do that through our goals of advising and supporting the work of others in our organization in the use of technology to achieve their goals. Next slide. And we also do that through a caring and support and training of our staff and providing a robust and safe computer network environment. So next slide. Oops, back. This is our technology team. It consists of 13 individuals that are hard workers and very knowledgeable when it comes to supporting our network. I'm proud to say that I lead this group of individuals. And I have as well two others, actually three of them are in the audience. We have another one as well that are going to help me present tonight. The first one is Dr. Ivy Nelson. She is the instructional technology manager. We have Mr. Daniel Barnaby. He is the assistant director of technology. And they will present along with me. Dr. Ivy Nelson will be presenting on the instructional technology aspect of things. Daniel Barnaby will be presenting on how our operations work. And then I'll follow up with the survey results and some of the overall type of information for the district. So Daniel gets to start.
Hello, everyone. Well, so we have a district, obviously you know the numbers, but there's about 700 plus staff members that we deal with. That's district and non-district employees or staff members. There's people from outside the district that aren't really technically ours that we still have to manage. We have the same amount of students. I always kind of say we take care of everything from your databases to your doors, because it all plugs in and it all touches technology, unfortunately sometimes. So we try to do everything we can to make technology work, kind of like a light switch. You know, you turn the light switch on, it works, you don't think about it. Whenever it doesn't work, you're like, well, that's odd. We say we try to do that because we know that it doesn't always go that way. What we do a lot of is integrations. And that's what's on this slide here. About 3 years ago, before we moved to Power School, with just Tyler Sis, we had a handful of integrations. Now you can see we have a lot of them. I really wanted to do a web here of like the way it really connects. And I started that, and then Ivy said, no, that looks horrible and no one can read it. So she made it look a lot more presentable, but that's really the way our technology works. We have that basics of Power School holds all of our staff and most of our staff and our student database. And then we have Google, that's our main single sign-on area. And then ClassLink is one of the new things that we've switched over from Clever. And that handles a lot of the programs that the students and the teachers face and see. And Ivy has, Dr. Nelson has done a lot with that, because it's one thing for me to say, yeah, I'll put a program on there, but now it has to go through curriculum. It has to be approved for all these things. So Ivy has been able to help me do a lot of putting those programs in and helping me get some of those things linked between the two different programs or different things. So if we can go to the next slide. Next is our infrastructure. We have a lot of stuff. We have servers, cameras, phones, IP phones. We have 431 camera lenses. And we say lenses because some of those lenses are like large fisheye and they make all different things. We have the halo sensors we've talked about in the past. We've have virtual servers. We just have a lot of things that connect to our network. In fact, over a 2-day span, we have about 10,000 devices will connect to our network. So, I mean, that's quite a bit of things. And, we only own about 6,700 devices. So that's another 4,000 devices of cameras, student devices, their phones, other things that connect to our network. There's a lot of different things we have to take care of. And interestingly, most of those things, like the cameras, the phones, even the intercoms, are all powered off of those switches. So they're not powered off of something that plugs into the wall. It runs off of our switches now. And we can go to our next slide. Our current projects, we have a new storage area network where we hold all of our data that we hold. We're going to put a new one of those in. The current one is at capacity, and plus it's over 7 years old and the vendor no longer supports it. They just sent me an email yesterday about it. And believe it or not, we still all the integrations we do, we still hand create staff and student user accounts, because we just haven't had a great way to integrate that yet. With ClassLink, we're going to try and fix that here in the next few weeks. But we also have a lot of infrastructure, and a lot of that stuff we have, unfortunately, is very old. That IP phone system, I remember putting in the first one. It was before 2012, and those phones are still here, which, you know, is getting long in the tooth with some of those things. So we have a lot of those different things that we're working on. We're also looking on updating some more of the infrastructure with the switches and things, and Tony will talk more about it. And we'll look forward to, you know, integrating more things with HR and finance and payroll. So we'll be able to take data from all the way they're hired all the way to their retirement ceremony. So, and now we'll have Dr. Nelson.
Thank you. So I have the opportunity to work very closely with our technology department, and I am part of the school improvement department working with Dr. Mock. And when I work with the technology department, something that I, never ceases to amaze me is that while none of them served in the classroom as a teacher, everything they do is centered around students and what's best for our kids. And I love that. And we, like Daniel said, we have over 700 staff, over 4,400 students that we support with devices. We have one-to-one devices for all of our K-12 students. Not all of them go home, but we do have a designated device for every single student in those grade levels. And we also provide online resources. So we focus on research-based resources for our staff and our students to use. And we also vet our resources based on the data privacy laws and different regulations that we have to follow to protect our staff and student data. So we have a district resource request process. And it used to be called, years ago when it was first rolled out, it was the curriculum approval process. And that kind of was misleading because it's not all curriculum, right? So we have coaches that submit requests. We have other staff, and it's not something that's necessarily a curriculum piece in the classroom because technology, spans a very wide area. So since rolling that out in the 2019-2020 school year, we have had nearly 400 requests from staff members, and over 50% are approved every year. Like I said, not all of them have to deal with technology, but of the tech-related requests that have been made, the main reason we have to decline something is because of data privacy. So I read privacy policies, I read terms of service, and any request that is made, any program that we use, we have to make sure, if their terms say it's prohibited for students under 13, we can't use it with those grade levels. If it says no one under the age of 18 can use it, we can't have it in our district, right? So thinking about all of those pieces in the background and finding things that not only are research-based, effective tools to use to support our curriculum, but also things that are protecting those technical aspects as well. We also, one of the things that I am proudest of in my years in Belton, we have an IT internship. So we have students that come to us every year from our high school academies. We started this program in the fall of 2020. And if you remember what the district was like in the fall of 2020, you may not know that we had 2 students in the program that year, that very first year, and those 2 students were the only students in the entire Belton School District who were able to participate in an internship that year because they partnered with us in the tech department. And because that was, the height of the pandemic, there were no other internships. So since then, it has grown. We have seen 41 students go through the program over the years, and they have earned scholarships, they have earned professional IT certifications, and full and part-time jobs in the tech industry. So we have alumni that have returned to us and worked as summer tech staff, and we have actually hired 2 alumni from the program, Max Case and Katie Grube, who you saw in our tech department picture as staff members now. So looking at our instructional technology, Daniel kind of hinted at some of this. We have over 65 apps and online tools that are used by students K-12. So looking at all of the tools that we integrate with, we have over 65 used by some student in those grades. The main thing that teachers responded to on the survey in regard to instructional technology was the need for more training. So 20% of respondents said that they needed more technology training. And, you know, the challenge there is balancing all of that. So balancing the need and the increase in tech tools with the time that we have to do professional development. So that's a major challenge. And then we also wanted to highlight some of the areas for improvement. So increasing our community involvement. So ways that we could do that would be to expand our student internship program, partnering with families more in regard to digital citizenship, especially where students are taking home their devices from our district. And then also creating a district PD hub, which we have started with the school improvement department and instructional coaches, really leading the charge on having a centralized location for all of those tools that we use, so that when a staff member has a question about how to do something in a certain program, we can direct them to the resource that will show them exactly what they need to do.
Oh, yeah, I can. So we surveyed our staff and received 121 responses to our survey, which is about a 19% response rate for our staff, which is pretty decent. And it was a pretty representative population looking from all the buildings, if you look at the graph. We opted to make our scale and decided on to do A to F kind of a scale with a 0 to 4 point scale. And overall, the rating came out to be 3.1 or a B average for all the different things we surveyed on. And this next slide shows us the aggregate data for the first 3 questions. And notably, and somewhat surprisingly, the lowest score we received was related to technology provided, which we've spent a ton of money on technology. Oh, so yes, it is. So to figure out what happened with it, that's all right. To figure out what happened with that is we dove into the comments that we had on that. And looking into the comments, we found that a lot of teachers were unhappy with the technology in their classrooms, and those related to smart boards, document cameras, some of the things that were aging now that we haven't focused on. Oh. Okay, and the next slide is 3 more of our questions we got. And as you can see, the best item we had was actually customer service, which was somewhat surprising to me in the past. It's kind of been one of our lower responses that we've gotten. So we kind of dove into that, and we saw a lot of things that were good. And I was happy to see that that was something that we focused on and have improved. So hooray for that. That's definitely for sure. And then after evaluating all the information we have, we went through all the questions, all the comments that we had, and all the open-ended questions we had as well. And we came up with some overall conclusions to the survey. And first that we found was that speedy assistance in the response is critical to a positive environment to enhance the staff work. And it also minimizes the impact on teaching and learning when we can do that. Second, we had a number of comments on classroom tech. We might take the time that we need to take a look at this and get some feedback from staff to see if we need to focus more on this, or if the one-to-one type of focus is better for us. And then next, we received a ton of A's and B ratings, but we can't overlook those D's and F's. We have a few unhappy staff members in here we need to look into further to see why they're unhappy, but overall, it's pretty positive. We also received several call outs and shout outs to our staff. We need to look into see what those staff members are doing and how we can bottle that and spread it to our other staff members we had over half of our respondents that replied that somebody did something good. So that's super positive. And finally, I think we have some change fatigue, and maybe some frustration with all the changes we have. We have changed a lot in the last 5 years, from the pandemic to post-pandemic, and certainly with the new big changes we've had recently. And maybe it's time to stabilize a little bit and let people get used to what we're doing, and maybe provide more depth and training on our systems. So overall, we've got some opportunities for growth, and what we're going to be struggling with here in the future. We're still dealing with that post-pandemic impact, keeping what worked and getting rid of what didn't. And then funding-wise, we received a lot of one-time funds when it came to the pandemic through emergency connectivity funds, ESSER funds. So we purchased a lot of devices and programs that use these funds. So how are we going to continue with these, and what do we need to cut to keep on going? We also have many aging systems, such as our network infrastructure, our phone systems, our data center. How are we going to move forward with those, these big ticket items? As example, our infrastructure upgrade is going to cost about $3 million. We do have E-rate funds, and we're going to straddle this over 2 different E-rate cycles. And so doing that will pay for about half of that. But we got to figure out where the rest of it's going to come to upgrade our network to be available for our staff. Staffing is also a major concern. Since the pandemic, staffing has been more difficult, as there is a huge shakeup in our tech profession, with people leaving for higher pay and remote work opportunities. So because of that increased demand, we're getting less applicants when it comes to our positions. So we got to find a solution to that. And finally, cybersecurity and safety is a huge issue for schools. We're a big target for people with bad intent, causing us to implement restrictions and safety measures to protect our students, our staff, and our organization. And additionally, insurance companies are requiring us to implement specific and costly practices that can be frustrating for staff, or they won't insure us. So some difficult things to navigate, but we do have some strengths that'll help us through that. And the number one strength we have is a consistent and experienced leadership team. And I'm not talking just me, Daniel, and Ivy. I'm talking about you guys here in our district leadership. Having that constant direction that we're going is a huge bonus for us. And beyond consistency, we've always had good support from the board and the community. And I believe that we have a district growth mindset. One thing I always hear Jerry Miller say is, what's next? We're constantly looking out over the horizon to see what we can do next to improve. And we do focus on students when we do that. And finally, I love the fact of this program that Ivy's helped develop, and we're growing our own tech staff. We're able to readily move our star students into positions for the district. People such as Max Case, Katie Grube, our current tech staff members that came from that program, and how great is that we have these students, and how great is it for our organization? So we'll leave it at that. Do you have any questions or comments?
I have a few questions, Tony.
Sure.
On timelines, for instance, Dr. Nelson mentioned district resource request process within 2 weeks. What's your goal, and are you meeting that goal? And the same with like resolution time for a problem, response time. I get it's in green, but I'm a layperson. You put a computer in front of me. It's like if you took a week and a half to get me an answer, I wouldn't know any better. But what is your standard? Are you guys meeting your standards?
I feel like we work very hard to meet that goal. And again, for the district resource request, we might get a request, we could get a request any day, but we have weekly meetings with that team from the school improvement department to look at the curriculum aspects. And then if there's a technology related component, then that is where I might vet privacy policies, terms of service. And then if it's a more advanced, an integration piece, then that is escalated to Daniel, Tony, Donnie, Sage, help with that process as well. For the technology work order timeline,
It really depends on what we're working on. I mean, it's a huge variable when people make requests on what's going to need to be done and what needs to be checked out. So it's very difficult to gauge how much time it takes. A lot of things we can get done in 5 minutes and say, yeah, that's good. But a lot of things, it takes 10 different people we have to talk to, and we have to research it. We have to contact the company. Just the other day, Dr. Nelson had to reach out to a company because they didn't have a privacy policy. So basically, they can do whatever with our student information. So we had to tell them that we can't work with you unless you have that. Luckily, she worked with them. They developed a privacy policy. They got it to us, and then now we can use that program.
So to expand on that, for instance, if it's going to take 2.5 months, are you communicating that to the person that requested that or the team that requested that so that they know, hey, I was expecting this in 2 weeks, but it's taking 2.5 months type thing?
And that's what I was going to add when I got back up. Yes, the communication throughout the process, I think, is the key piece. So if it's something that is not resolved at those weekly meetings with the district resource request, starting in the school improvement department, and it's something that needs to be escalated, I think that's the key, is communicating that your request has been, approved at this point, we're moving it on to this. Or a lot of times it's reaching back out with questions because maybe the request didn't specify if the staff member is using it or if they're wanting students to be logging in and using the resource too, which totally changes things because of age restrictions for apps. And I think just that communication, to your point, throughout that process is the key to that.
Okay, great. And then, I'm sorry, Dr. Arbisi, if I missed this, question 7, 8, 9, and 10. I understand the questions, but there's nothing listed. Was that in one of your?
Those were the open-ended ones. I provided the document, but it was 350 pages.
Oh.
So they cut that out. I can provide that too if you'd like. But just for brevity on the document, that's what.
Yeah, I was just curious, what are you hearing that
And that was part of the information that I consolidated and did a trend analysis on.
Anyone else? Technically, our meetings are open to the public, but I'll let you slide. Go ahead.
You briefly mentioned on it about the aging technology and kind of getting more hands-on with that technology. My daughter just started high school, so she got what was supposed to be a taken care of MacBook from the senior for her freshman year. And she's still picking out food particles and other stuff from that MacBook. During the off-season summer, are you guys getting hands-on on the one-on-one technology to start refurbishing and clean out those registries, stuff like that, to help these technology stay running faster so that way they're having less issues, or are they just sitting in the schools?
Each summer, we refurbish. We have a process to go through and go through those systems and refurbish and get them ready for new students. We utilize our student techs to help with that. So sometimes maybe the quality of the work isn't where we need to be, or maybe we should be monitoring a little more. So I hate to hear that, but yes, we do go through the process, and they should be as new as we can make them. And I shouldn't hear anything like that. So that's good information to know, though.
So and I was just bringing it up, maybe have my son in middle school, they can be capable of, if you've got some that he's in robotics, that'd be something good for them to, participate in. You could start them earlier.
And we've talked about expanding our student program down to the middle school as well for extra help.
Sorry.
That's all right. Not very often I like to break our rule, but that was a good one. Will you take care of his?
Sure, definitely.
Thank you.
Afterwards.
We'll have them reach out to you just to make sure that the technology is working correctly for you. Okay? You'll take care of that?
Sure, definitely.
Absolutely. Cheryl, accept a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve the technology program survey as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the technology program as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. All right, let's see. The motion was, thank you. All righty, next is new business, salary schedule update.
Yes, just one update to the salary schedule there. You'll notice an admin intern athletic coverage addition. So the administration asked the board to approve the addition to the salary schedule as presented.
I make a motion to approve the updated salary schedule as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the admin salary schedules as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Change. That's good. Meeting dates. The chair would need a motion on this, but the next meeting for us, or the late meeting in October, is October 31st, which is Halloween. Would like to see if we can move it to the 24th.
I would make a motion that we move the October 31st meeting to October 24th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move it from the 31st to the 24th. Any discussion? Seeing that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Some committee updates. Belton Educational Foundation.
Okay, that's me. The preliminary numbers from the gala, which is the big fundraiser for the foundation, brought in $76,234. The expenses were a little over 20,000, so the net from that was about 56,000, and there were 240 people who registered to attend. So we feel like the gala was a big success. Upcoming events, all the kids out in the audience there know homecoming's coming up, and you're not alumni yet, but when you get to be alumni, we hold things on the weekend. So we'll have a tailgate that Friday night. And then we will also participate in the parade on Thursday afternoon. And then on October 12th, there's a luncheon where we induct our Hall of Fame recipients. And one of our retired board members, Mrs. Linda Wilkins, will be one of those inductees this year. We're excited about that. So that's about it for now. You can always stop by, donate, volunteer. There's always opportunities with the foundation.
Okay, thank you. MSBA, I'll let you start.
Okay. The State Missouri School Board Conference will be in October 18th and 19th. Some of us will be attending on the 17th because we're going to learn all about or learn more about artificial intelligence in schools, so we can be up to date with what you guys are doing with Snapchat and I shouldn't say that, Chat GPT. I'm sorry. I'm a little old sometimes. So we're going to do that. There's going to be a book drive during the conference. And I think Mrs. Stocking sent something out to all the board members about bring a book for the book drive during the conference. And Mr. Miller will have more updates than I have.
Yeah, so they're asking us to bring at least one and possibly three. So if anybody would like to do that, what happens is you put your name, you put it in, and then your school district can win 200, 500 books, depending upon what Scholastic is offering. And so it's a pretty good deal that we just put in some books.
Last year, some districts bought crates of books. I mean, they brought hundreds, so.
Yes.
But I think that was a little more than they were expecting to receive.
So, yes. And you got your delegate stuff, so.
And I have my delegate packet, yes.
Okay, all righty. Belton Cares.
Teresa's not here tonight. She's our representative, but I'm also Belton Cares, so I can report a little bit. We have a 5K on October 13th. That's a Sunday at High Blue. We're still looking for people to get registered for that. There are lots of awards. You can walk, you can run, you can do it virtually. We would just like to see everyone sign up for that. We'll be celebrating Red Ribbon Week with students and families Friday at the football game. There will be a tailgate, free hot dogs and chips for anyone who attends. And I don't know where Officer Strong went, but he'll be there participating. Our police department provides those hot dogs and stuff for us as a part of Red Ribbon Week. Did anybody out there participate in the art contest? Okay, we have an art contest and those winners will also be announced at the tailgate on Friday night.
All righty. And probably nothing from the city of Belton. Nope. It was tonight and we were here. All righty. Very good.
Is that because they weren't there?
All righty. Some miscellaneous dates for you. September 26th is the Wilkins STEAM Academy and Hillcrest Family Math Night at 5:30. September 30th is Kentucky Trail Picture Day. October 2nd is Scott Picture Day. October 4th is Mill Creek Picture Day. October 10th is the Homecoming Parade, followed by a school board meeting. So our student representative, if one of you, if you can't make that one, we would understand, okay? Just letting you know. I will understand, because we're going to be leaving the parade and running right to here, because we have a meeting. Let's see, October 11th is the Belton High School Alumni Tailgate at Southwick Stadium. October 11th is also the homecoming football game. October 12th is the homecoming dance. October 12th is the Alumni Hall of Fame at the Belton Middle School. October 14th, there's no school for staff, PD, and collaboration day. October 17th through the 19th is the Missouri School Boards Association Annual Conference down at the Weston. October 17th is BHS Test Day and Parent Teacher Evening Conferences, grades 7 through 12, 4 to 8 p.m. October 21st through the 24th is the Mill Creek Book Fair. October 22nd is the Wilkins STEAM Academy Book Fair. October 24th through the 25th is No School Parent Teacher Conferences. October 28th through the 29th is BHS Picture Day. November 1 is No School for PD Collaboration Day. Are there any dates that the chair missed? Seeing none. All righty. Anything else for the good of the cause? Chair will accept a
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Aye.
well, we'll do it. Jim,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
and Mary.
Yes.
And we're adjourned.